Thank you very much.
It's Kaufman is Alive. I look at comic books new and old. Welcome to the show. Today I'm looking at an old comic book, Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, issue number 4. It's got a cover date of August 1984, 75-cent cover price. I love the Secret Wars logo here, the Marvel Superheroes branding that's done here on the logo. Just a classic logo and a classic cover here as well, done by Bob Layton. Got Hulk holding up this giant 150 billion tons of rock, and he's not happy about it. Trying to save all the heroes here. I've done reviews of issues 1 and 2, so go check those out on my channel if you haven't yet. I'm missing issue 3 though, so I'm going to skip that for now. Try to come back to that at another time. I've also done Secret Wars 2 number 1, so go check that out if you haven't yet. And there's something that happens in this issue that does play into what goes on here in Secret Wars 2 number 1. So Bob Layton does the artwork here. In this issue, Mike Zeck was the artist on issues 1 and 2, so we got a different artist here. Bob Layton, most notably, at least for me, known from his work on Iron Man, and we do get some good Iron Man artwork here in this book. Get the opening splash page. The villains are destroying the good guys' base here. Situation Hopeless is the title of this issue. It basically, we're told the heroes won the first battle, but the bad guys came back here for the second battle and snuck up on the heroes and got the best of them here. I like big splash pages like this that have tiny little drawings of the characters like this. We got Jim Shooter doing the writing, and he was conceived of this entire miniseries as well. Bob Layton, as I mentioned, he's the penciler. We got John Beatty doing inks, Joe Rosen doing the letters, Christy Shield doing the colors, and Tom DeFalco is the editor here. And the first thing I noticed upon looking at this issue and, other comics of this era is it's just so much different than the comics of today. There's just so much more detail on every page. I mean, that's not true for every comic book, but most comic books of this era, that's what you get. There's, more dialogue going on here. I love the Zipatone colors as well. I don't know if you can pick that up on the video here, but just the tiny little dots that make up all the colors on the book here. I mean, something you just don't get anymore, but it looks awesome. So the heroes are kind of regrouping after their battle. They've escaped the destruction of their base, but then they just start hurling objects in the direction of the heroes. And some of the other villains decide this isn't probably the best plan. So the Molecule Man decides he's going to move an entire mountain and drop it on the heroes, hence the cover here. And we see the meeting of Molecule Man here in Volcana for the first time, and she's pretty impressed by his powers, which that all leads into Secret Wars 2, where the Beyonder basically takes on the appearance of the Molecule Man and uses all of his powers. And Molecule Man, a very overpowered villain here. He can just pretty much do whatever he wants to anything. And he was able to destroy their base. He moved this giant mountain, and it's fallen on top of the heroes here. I really love this panel of just all the rubble falling on them, and just the way the artist depicts all of the, and the colorist too. I like the colors on the panel too, how it's different from the rest of the page here, just to show the distress of the situation. I really love this panel as well of Dr. Doom down here at the bottom, flanked behind him, all the villains that have been sent here by the Beyonder. They're all congratulating Molecule Man. And we kind of get the hierarchy of the villains as well. Doom being the leader, he's got Ultron and Dr. Octopus are kind of his left and right hand. And we've got the Wrecking Crew, Molecule Man, some of the other minor villains here, Titania, and Absorbing Man, and Kang way in the back there. And Kang is not seeing eye to eye with Dr. Doom either, which is depicted in this panel because he's way in the back. So then we get a brief interlude with Thor, who's been taken away by Enchantress, and she's trying to enchant Thor here. And Thor's asking what she would want if they won the battle, since the Beyonder said the winners of the battle would basically be granted whatever they wanted. And she says she just wants his love. And right at that moment, they like fall through the floor here, and they decide that everyone's in trouble. They should probably get back to what they were doing. And they teleport back to the base, but the base has been destroyed by the villains, so they're surrounded by all the villains here. And Thor demands answers. And Enchantress walks away from Thor. She's not going to help him in battle here against all of these villains because she's on the side of the villains ultimately, even though she longs for Thor. So then we get Thor battling all the villains here, which is a pretty cool scene. I love this face on Absorbing Man. We get a couple great action pages here of Thor battling all the bad guys. Doom says that he's implanted this new disintegration ray into Ultron, who uses it on Thor, and all the villains think that they've disintegrated Thor. Of course, Enchantress, this brings her to tears. And Doom reminds the villains that one of them tried to kill him back in the first issue. So he has Ultron use the disintegration ray on Kang. And he says, let that be a warning to the rest of you. So finally we catch up with the X-Men here. Kind of get panels kind of from each of the perspectives of the X-Men. Wolverine's just aching for a fight, and he says he's not going to hold back with the entire universe at stake. And they're searching for Magneto. They want Magneto's help. And they're able to find his base. And Magneto is working with the Wasp here, and he makes a comb for her out of, magnetic materials. Janet's like, I wish this place had plumbing. What sort of beings would build a place with no powder rooms? So the X-Men show up as Magneto is offering Janet some of this delicious alien fruit nectar, which is what basically they're all using for sustenance on the planet. And at that moment, the X-Men show up, and Wolverine's like, nah, got any cold beers, Maggie? And Professor X wants to join with Magneto, and we get a classic monologue by Magneto here explaining how they all do need to work together, even against the Avengers, if the Avengers don't want to work with them, because they can win the battle ultimately and bring peace to the planet between humans and mutants. So, but of course, Janet, she's been the leader of the Avengers, which Magneto mentions here. And, obviously she doesn't like the fact that he said that they would go after the Avengers if they needed to. So she tells Magneto that she's only been shacking up with him recently just to find out what he's up to. And the X-Men start battling the Wasp here, and she realizes that they're probably going to overpower her. She needs to get away, so she does. Needs to go let the Avengers and Captain America know what their plan is. We find out Spider-Man thrashed the X-Men in the last issue, which is the issue I don't have. And she's trying to get away using this ship, and she doesn't know how to drive it very well, and Magneto says she won't be able to get far with his powers. He's going to stop her and basically end her, but Charles is like, Magnus, no, I can't allow you to do this. And he's like, allow me, you presume much, Xavier. And a couple pages back, she actually compares Magneto to Hitler. She says, and now that I know you really, really are the most evil scum since Hitler, I'm going to stop you, which is pretty crazy. And Professor X also does the same thing, comparing Doom to Hitler. So some strong words there. And a quick page here, you could see by the artist, not all the artwork in this book is, it's all serviceable, but just some quick backgrounds, some rocks, a couple faces, and one full panel of just black. So a quick page here. But the black, we get back to the heroes who pages ago, the mountain got dropped on them. We finally get back to that, so we get kind of the inspiration of the cover here in this panel. And it's a pretty cool scene here as Reed Richards using elements of each of the heroes here to break their way out of the mountain, which they do. He kind of makes Hulk mad, which gets him even stronger, so he's able to hold up the rock even longer. It's a good scene. It's a well-written scene. So they send Captain Marvel out to go find food or sustenance or supplies. Thor also catches back up with all of the heroes. She finds this kind of abandoned village that actually has people living in it. And she says, what's a war without innocent victims? And we see Galactus here, who's been here since the first issue. He's just kind of watching over everything, and they don't know why. And they come into contact with the people living in this village here. None of them speak English, but they find this one who seems to be a healer, and she starts healing some of the heroes here. Ben Grimm, who had turned back into his human form, turns back into the Thing for no reason at all, and they can't explain it. And it upsets him because right when they're about to be around a bunch more people, he gets turned back into rock. So he's just going to go take a nap. And then right at that moment, Galactus starts to move, and this concerns Reed for obvious reasons. So, and that's the end of this issue. Pretty cool issue, lots of fun. We get this weird ad on the back. This is for Parker Brothers board games, where you can call this hotline for 50 cents per call and get information on new board games. Crazy stuff. Not something you'd ever imagine anyone doing here in 2025. But Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 4. This is an awesome cover, a really cool issue. I just love this cover. It's just one of my favorite covers. Kind of a brave thing to do, really, just to have an entire cover covered by rock, and conceptually just a cool design with all the heroes laid to waste down here with the Hulk holding up all the rock. A fun issue. So go check this one out if you haven't yet. I got this one pretty cheap at my local comic book shop recently, so they're out there. You can find them, and pick this whole series up, of course, in a trade paperback as well. Thanks again for watching. Go read comics.